Alessio was face to face with a decision that would change his life forever. But the threat hanging over him made everything uncertain, like an approaching storm. If only he had known what awaited him, perhaps he would have chosen differently, or perhaps not. Before finding out what really happened, I invite you to subscribe to the channel so as not to miss the next stories, and enjoy the show. Alessio, at 45, bore on his face the signs of a life he had not chosen. He worked as a manager in a company in Verona, a historic city that, however, could not fill the void in his heart. Every day, dressed in grey clothes, he lived a routine that suffocated him, far from the boy who once dreamed of working outdoors among the flowers of his grandmother's garden. As a young man, he was fascinated by nature and wanted to become a gardener, but his father pushed him toward a more secure career. Thus, his dreams remained buried in the past while he adapted to a job he didn't love. Everything changed when he met Valentina, a woman who entered his life like a breath of fresh air during a boring meeting. Her smile and contagious energy awakened something in Alessio that he thought was lost, marking the beginning of a profound transformation. After the meeting, Alessio, apologizing for the terrible coffee offered, proposed to Valentina to make up for it by taking her to a bar in the city with an exceptional coffee. She accepted with a smile, and from that moment, their meetings became frequent, building a deep bond. Both had sacrificed dreams for a stable career, but together, they rediscovered the joy of dreaming. From that day and in the following weeks, talking about their passions, they decided to open a bar in a garden, combining the dreams of both. They found an old land with an abandoned house on the edge of Verona and began the renovation, a project that required dedication and time. While working in the garden, Alessio met Matteo, a 10-year-old boy who began to help him in the garden. Day after day, Matteo became a constant presence, and Alessio, who had never had children, developed a strong bond with him. Matteo filled a void in Alessio's life, bringing a light that he did not know he had lost. Valentina watched with affection the relationship that was developing between Alessio and Matteo. They seemed like a real family, with a complicity that grew day after day. One day, Valentina decided to ask Matteo if they could meet his mother, to make sure she was comfortable with the time the boy was spending with them. Matteo's answer left her speechless. "I don't have a mother anymore. She died many years ago. I live alone in that abandoned house." Those words broke Valentina and Alessio's hearts. They couldn't believe that such a young child had been abandoned to himself. They immediately decided to take care of him. They took him to their home, bought him new clothes, enrolled him in school, and prepared a special room for him in their house. Matteo wasn't just a helper in the garden, he had become part of their family. Everything seemed to be going well, until one day, a man with a hard face and a loud voice showed up in their garden. "Hey, Matteo, you seem to be doing well, huh?" the man said in a tone that left no room for misunderstanding. Matteo recognized him immediately. It was his uncle Luca, the man who had abandoned him months before. Luca's presence cast a dark shadow on the serenity that Alessio and Valentina had painstakingly built. Alessio tried to remain calm, introducing himself and explaining that Matteo had been with them and was well cared for. But Luca's words made him freeze, If you don't pay me, I'll take the boy away." Luca claimed Matteo as if he were a bargaining chip, asking for money in exchange for his freedom. Matteo, terrified, hid behind Alessio, making it clear with his gesture that he did not want to return to his uncle. It was clear that Luca was not the loving relative he should have been. Alessio and Valentina exchanged a look, knowing that they would never allow that man to take Matteo away. They decided to fight for him, and their decision was immediate. They would adopt Matteo. They contacted a lawyer and social services, and a hearing was scheduled to decide custody of the child. "You'll regret not giving me what I wanted," Luca hissed as he left the garden. But Alessio and Valentina were not intimidated. They were determined to protect Matteo and give him the life he deserved. Now, if you are enjoying the story, I invite you to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for your support. The day of the hearing arrived, and the atmosphere in the courtroom was tense. Alessio and Valentina had carefully prepared their case, but they knew that much depended on how the judge would interpret the situation. After listening to all the parties, the judge paused, then turned a kind look toward the little boy. "Matteo, I don't normally ask children to express themselves in these situations, but I think you have something important to say. Do you want to tell us your story?" Matteo stood up and began to speak. He told how his mother had died and how his uncle Luca had abandoned him. He spoke of those days spent alone in the abandoned house and how, meeting Alessio and Valentina, his life had changed. "Please, let me stay with them. Life is beautiful there." Those words, full of innocence and truth, deeply affected everyone in the courtroom. The judge nodded slowly, aware of the importance of that decision. When he retired to deliberate, the wait seemed interminable. But in the end, the verdict was clear. Matteo would remain with Alessio and Valentina. That decision not only changed Matteo's life, but also that of Alessio and Valentina. Their dream had finally come true. They opened their bar in the garden, and Matteo had found a family, and with it, a new hope for the future.